Previously on The Guardians of Fehal.
In our last episode, the party made their way down through the Carley family crypts deep under the Mont Bailey Keep. That was supposedly a location to find answers into what Rhys's evil secret was and the murder of Lord Westwood. As they descended the stairs down and past the actual family crypts, they triggered a trap, which was a grain auger at some point, and had to escape the debris of this old wheat being churned up and the blades spinning around them. None of them were hurt, and Felix was able to stop it from closing up top, and the party continued to make their way down the stairs. Once down the stairs, they found a giant cavern that looked to have been a grain storage room at one point, but then also a temple which had been destroyed and desecrated. And in the center of it, under all these black inky ruins and bloodstains, was this black crystal that seemed to reflect smoke in it. Rowan felt deeply uncomfortable as he went closer to it. And as they were exploring the room in darkness, they encountered Lord Rhys and his steward, Vil, who they suspected of being some sort of monstrous life-sucking creature. The two villains managed to charm Hans and Franz Josh's character and Una so they would not fight for quite a bit of combat, which then ensued. Vil managed to suck part of the life out of Una and Felix as well. However, in the very end, the party was successful in defeating Rhys, and Vil almost managed to escape before being killed and dragged into this crystal. The party decided to use the rest of their magic to try to destroy the crystal. You guys are still in this room that is hundreds of, literally like like 100 feet long and about 40 feet tall. It is still dark currently. Rhiannon has it still has dancing lights up, but it's not extending everywhere. And it is dim lighting, so you can't see everything, but so far this crystal is destroyed. And Rowan, you do not feel that presence that was giving you a headache before. It feels gone now.
Woo.
You're like, oh my god, my head doesn't hurt anymore.
I believe the last thing that that I mentioned Rowan doing was grabbing a shard of the crystal and just sort of sitting down, and I think my plan was to like kind of try and meditate with it somehow. I don't remember exactly what I had left off with, but
yeah, I think you wanted to like study it or something. Like you wanted to see if you could get any sort of reaction or thing from it, but
something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll so kneeling down in front of the destruction of crystal in front of me, I will grab a piece of the crystal and just sort of focus on it and see if there's anything in there. I don't even know what that looks like, but
well, you're looking at it and you can see Rhiannon's lights are kind of lit up the room, you know, with her dancing light spell going on. Josh's Hans and Franz, who is not here tonight, neither is Andrew, so they're in the Pokeball, but he also will cast light, since I know he has it, to just kind of like add some stuff in the room. Rowan, give me a perception check.
Perception. Hey, 18.
Yay, perfect. Okay, Rowan. So you're sitting there and you're trying to meditate on the crystal and you're not getting anything, but as you're looking at it, all of a sudden, like you catch a reflection in the crystal of like some sort of like golden painted wheat iconography, and then you look up and it's on the ceiling above the crystal. Like a mural of like wheat imagery in this cavern.
Rhiannon, can you move your lights closer to the ceiling?
Rhiannon isn't actually responding. Like she's kind of just standing there and looking at Rhys's body.
Good.
Like
good.
She looks like she's breathing heavy and she's processing the fact that one, she's partially covered in his blood splatter from when she thunder waved him to death, and two, she just has like a very like strong mixture of different emotions on her face, like rage, relief, but also like she's trying to fight having some sort of like mental breakdown. So she doesn't respond when you're talking to her.
Does this look similar to how she was out on the balcony?
It's that, but there's more anger there this time. So it's different. Like there's more anger.
Rowan will set aside his current mission and walk over to Rhiannon and without touching her, just stand next to her and very calmly and somewhat quietly say, Are you okay?
Let's see. All right. Oh, with the natural one, I think she starts like actually breaking down and crying a bit and like hugging herself. And then she just starts like saying, I always thought it was my fault. I thought it was my fault.
What was your fault?
I thought it was my fault for being stupid and trusting him, but if he could mind control people like he did Hans and Franz and Felix, and Iskender, like what Bill just did, that means it wasn't my fault.
Regardless of whether or not he could mind control, nothing was ever your fault. Anything he did to you, it was all his fault.
She ends up leaning into you and hugging you and crying a bit.
I'll just wrap my arms around her.
Tree man hug.
There's nothing that anyone can say or do that would make it your fault.
She's just kind of emotional for a while and cries it out. Just kind of like all this guilt and like confusion over everything that had happened with them originally, where she's like, I thought I trusted him, and then maybe I did, like, I put myself in a situation where I could have been raped, and I, like, that was my fault. Like, there was part of her that just always felt like it was her fault. So her recognizing that they had mind control powers, like, is very, like, it's complicated for her right now. So she's processing that. So, and she did just murder somebody. So it's kind of, you know, she murdered 2 people.
That's true.
I just wanted to say that I was going to totally do that, Aaron. You stole that. Shame on you.
Well, get in on this.
Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, Aaron, also give me an insight check.
These have not done me well. 5.
No, you don't.
I was gonna say, are we gonna completely ignore the slip up that Rhiannon made?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no,
completely?
that's what it was. Yeah.
What?
Exactly. What?
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 I mean, if Nora's standing next to her, then yeah, she heard her say Iskender instead of Felix. I
suppose she is, because she's over by all of them. She
I don't know
probably
where
like
Una is.
side eyes quick, but then like when he doesn't notice, she's just like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
Well, while all of that's happening, we picked up in quotation marks. We used the back of my arrow fletching to put the ring in the bag of holding.
Mhm.
Una's gonna go around and pick up every single little piece of crystal she can and try to shove as much of it in the bag of holding as possible.
I will say, also, Vil dropped a ring as well, and like she started disintegrating like the imps did. It did leave behind like the outfit that she was wearing as the steward and like the pieces of jewelry she was wearing. But
Heck
like,
yeah.
that's, and
Taking
also
all that.
she and her what the fuck was it? Oh yeah, you saw there's one on Rice's body too, but just because hers dropped, like the key, like it is the family key thing that you guys copied from the one you stole from Gerald's room. So they both have those on them. So Anyway.
Is there anything, Matt? So ring, obviously, we're not touching the rings, correct? Until we get them identified as a group. So we'll probably put both of the rings in the bag of holding without touching them, I'm assuming. And then probably the same with the jewelry. Maybe just like all the jewelry pieces, like Una will use like at the back of her arrow and like pick them out and then like put our bag of holding on the ground like a dustpan and like sweep them in the bag.
Like snap off any of like the wood at the very like end of it and use the feathers just to kind of like broom it into. And then I mean, probably grab the clothes too. Hopefully they're not weird or wonky. But grabbing everything. Like, my bag is probably going to be, like, exploding here soon. It's probably going to be so full.
Yeah, I was going to say, the crystal was 30 by 30 feet, so you cannot put all of it. And it was, like, 5 to 10 feet off the ground. It kind of, like, raised in parts. You can't put all of that in the bag of holding. It will not fit.
Then I want to try to find 2 pieces that are, like, 3 feet long. And then as many, like, arrowhead size, like 4 inches and smaller, like as many of those as possible.
Okay.
Are you gonna try to make some soul-stealing arrows? Is that what's
I
happening?
don't know what you're talking about, Eric. I this crystal has no power, but I'm wondering if it can like be enhanced, like if it's like a residuum from Critical Role, like if it has enhancement ability.
Or minimum, just even having this as evidence is gonna be good for anything that we end up doing after this.
Yeah. But like, I mean, finding like, if I could find like 54-inch little sliver pieces that could possibly made into arrowheads. And then
high
like,
or low?
We're gonna say low.
All right, you were able to find about 50 little arrowhead. It's gonna take you a while to do this.
That's fine. And then like, can I find like 4 to 5 3-foot pieces?
Yeah, they are super heavy though, so you can't fit all. You probably could fit 1 or 2 in the bag of holding.
Okay.
And then
I'll fit 2 so my bag doesn't explode. Hopefully. But you might make something cool out of it. I don't know.
All right, what were you gonna say, Lauren?
I've rolled, and no. I was gonna say, does Felix notice her doing this? And the answer is no, he probably doesn't.
Nope. I don't know what you noticed instead, but
probably.
You're too focused on Rhiannon.
Yeah.
And also the fact that you got fucking hit by that succubus bad.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm at 14 hit points right now. I don't want to hear it. Like,
well, how
I'm
much
pretty
did
sure
you take, Lauren?
Felix and I are hurt right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh, let me check.
Because you took like all 24 points of those damage when she sucked the life out of you.
31.
Nice. Hey, you're better than I am right now.
No, the kiss took 31.
Oh. My kiss only took like 21, it looks like, as well. So hey. Yay! Powerful kisses! Crystal bits. Loot bodies. Pick up ring. Oh. Rowan, Una, and who else was helping copying down ruins? Was it Nora? The ruins were in the circle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I was helping.
Yeah.
You weren't? Who was helping?
I was
Felix was
focusing
helping.
It was us 3, Felix,
Us 3,
Nora,
Felix.
and Una.
Okay. Well, it's perfect. Looking at ruins, sweeping shards. No wonder I can find all my pieces.
You just go all the way around and sweep as you write. Just do a little section at a time.
I love it's the tree man barbarian warlock who's the emotional support character.
Yeah. Hey, didn't you say the ruins were like disappearing though? So
they look like they had been fractured. Like they're not active anymore. Like they've been like disturbed. So they're not like currently active, but they're still there. So you guys are copying down like the shapes of the symbols on the ground, the blood stains and everything. I would say that with those of you with dark vision, give me perception checks.
Oh, I got this. I so got this. My rolls are gonna be Son of a bitch. Rolled a natural 1. So passive of 15 or 6. Because my rolls hate me.
Are we counting the level up now or after a rest?
You would get you wouldn't have access to your new spells yet, but
Okay.
I would count your hit points and stuff.
Because I do have dark vision now.
Oh, is that what you took?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay. So wait, what did you end up taking for your evocations then?
Let me take a look at it. It is oops, come on. Edit character.
Actually, a great question. I don't know what I got because I haven't leveled up yet because I'm a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, you got your bump to your wisdom thing finally for saves.
So
Because everybody
technically
needs that.
it's called Devil's Sight, but I figured we would reflavor the name of it.
Right, yeah.
To like Celestial Sight or something.
Yeah.
But I can see normally in darkness.
No. It's Angel Eyes.
Angel Eyes, I like it. I can see normally in darkness both magical and non-magical at a distance of 120 feet.
Oh wow, so you're even further than Una now.
Yep.
Wow, way to show up the Gloomstalker.
I'm just the show off that's not chauvinistic about it.
It's not because you're a
Andrew's
girl.
Hans in front. No, because Andrew's Hans and Franz and I had some like strength competition early on in the game, and I was just like, oh, I could do that too. But now it's like, oh, I can see like 120 feet. It's no problem. And then also I have beast speech, so I can talk to Sam when she's in animal form.
That's handy.
So if I have dark
You have
vision, then
yeah, you suddenly can see.
I will roll perception. It was perception, correct?
Yeah,
That's an 8.
yeah. It didn't really matter because you already noticed it. I was seeing if either
got
of them. So Una doesn't notice it. Felix, I know your passive is high enough anyway, so I'm not even gonna make you roll, and you have your dark vision goggles on. So as soon as Sam puts her headphones back on, I'll say.
Shit, I don't even need the dancing lights. I can just see it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the whole mural.
You didn't realize it at first.
No.
Oh my god. I'm used to... It's been a day. So Sam, you and Felix / Iskender, Nora and Felix / Iskender, with your dark vision, you're looking around at the shards and the ruins and everything, and you're just looking around the room in general, and you look up and you see above where the crystal is, it looks to be faded and maybe a little bit partially destroyed. It looks a lot like the Carley family crest in many ways, where it is the wheat shafts, but it's in a slightly different design. Where it's not a 1-to-1, where it's like maybe this was the original symbol or something of this place, and now it's kind of like been faded and messed with a little bit. But this is probably where the Carleys originally got the idea for their family sigil from. So shafts of wheat.
Interesting. I'm kind of curious what's over on this side of the room.
The very far end.
Yeah.
All right. Nora can go over the other like 130 feet and start exploring. You see more of like the pillars. It looks like there's braziers here to light up, and it looks like this used to be some sort of statue to probably like a shrine of some sort, where you can see part of it is like a figure holding wheat and a sun behind it, like shrine, but the figure is like destroyed on the ground. So like
clearly not in use.
Not in use. And next to it looks like a prison cell with a torture bed and chains and stuff, so.
Nora slowly backs away before starting to gag.
Yep. You guys study the stuff on the ground. I have no idea how long you're going to spend doing that. Una is probably spending like 10 minutes looking for all of this, these shards and shit. Ryan calms down and starts looking around, like looking over very hesitantly, like Rhys's like body just to kind of see what is on him, and stuff like that. Rowan, if you want to help, or you could ask her about the wheat thing because she's calmed down.
I'd help her, and then as soon as we're done doing that, then yeah, I would ask about the mural.
Who's taking notes on what's on Rhys's body as you search it? Because there was some specific things.
Megan?
I sure can.
Yeah. All right. So from Rhys, specifically, you get several rings of various sizes with gemstones in them. You get a golden necklace inlaid with sapphires. He has the spear that Hans and Franz kicked off the stairs, which is magical and is a +2 spear. And then he also has a shield that looks like it has an emblazoned symbol of an eye on it. So
Is that
and then you
also feel magical?
You'd have to do detect magic to be able to see if any of this is magical. Also, he has a key for the crypt on it, similar to like the one that Geralt had that you guys took. Same for Bill. So.
Okay. Well, good thing I can identify and detect magic. It just takes me a heck of a lot longer than everybody else.
Otherwise, I know, like, did I get that? Oh, nope. Well,
Is Josh's a cantrip or a first level spell?
It's a first
This
level
is
spell.
a first level spell.
if we don't want to spend a ton of time down here, I can finally make use of an item that I've got.
Sure.
Hey!
Is it the Pearl of Power?
It's the Pearl of Power. I can gain my first level spell slot back and use Detect
Nice.
Magic if we want to. Do you want to use that?
I mean, maybe let's lay everything out and do it. Maybe let's just do it. Like,
would
let's
probably be
gather everything
Good.
and bring it up. I mean, if we have
Not
everything.
a bad idea. Because then we can kind of prioritize what we need to check over. We could do it all at once and detect a bunch of magic stuff.
Exactly. We could lay
and
it
also-
all out and just scan.
Nora's also very curious what Una blindly grabbed and threw into the bag of holding while she was rummaging through everything.
She was under mind control.
Yeah. From
Yep,
that.
so Nora's
deck,
just like, I want to know what's all in here at this
Yeah.
point.
I mean, I think that we should just grab everything and sort it out later. I mean, that's gonna be. Are we taking Lord Rhys's body with us as well?
I think that we probably should leave things roughly as is.
We'll take the expensive things and the weapons
I
and
think
leave
we
the
should
clothes.
leave things roughly as is.
I feel like what we currently have is enough to be able to have proof of something happened. You need to go check it out. And then if we leave everything else as it currently is in terms of his body, the ashes of everything that disintegrated, like all of that is proof enough of something happened down here. I don't know if, the biggest problem though is that I also don't necessarily want to leave them unattended. So that's where I'm just like, I don't really know what's the best option here.
I technically could leave Spriel here.
That's
Yes.
good idea.
Lizzie?
Rhiannon says, we still haven't looked up the stairs that they came down yet.
That is true.
It's a good point.
We should probably do that because there could be something bad up there.
So
as
I
we're
was
just digging
I'm
around
sure
down here.
most of you don't have the map open right now,
I
but you
do.
are all
I do.
standing by a bunch of fucking stairs, and your characters would remember, oh yeah, there was this
Yeah.
battle on the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up the stairs.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's
Oh,
have the rogue
Felix-
go first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Felix, can you go first and check for traps?
Before we go, Rhiannon, I noticed the wheat on the ceiling. Can you see up? Can you see that?
She like moves her dancing light so she can see, and she's like, oh. Oof. It's not a great check for her.
Felix did get a 16 for history.
Good, because I think he might. Actually, this makes a ton of sense too, as well. All right, because Rhiannon only got like an 8 with her history, even with her bardic proficiency thing. Oh no, wait, then it would have been like 11. Rhiannon's like, it looks like some sort of religious symbol, but I'm not sure I recognize it. Felix, with your specific knowledge of like the old worship practices of the Wind Plains before the Mire Empire took over, you recognize it as a symbol of like one of the older spirits and gods of the area of wheat. And you know that when the Mire Empire kind of took over, a lot of the worship went underground for it. But Felix knows that around this time of the matchmaking festival, there's still a lot of people that practice it, because it was kind of like saying it was feeding the god of the sun and wheat and helping the spirit regain its energy so it could come back at winter solstice. Which is why people will burn bonfires outside and then take the ashes and sprinkle them outside their house as protection rituals to kind of get them through the cold time. So Felix knows that this is like, oh, that would mean that it was the symbol of this spirit that watched over this place. So this probably was a shrine to them originally.
RF Blah.
So they destroyed the temple for
Evil purposes.
whatever it was.
I doubt it was good.
Rhiannon's like, yes, but also that makes sense to your wheat question that you had. If they got murdered on the crystal, which it certainly looks like from the blood, the last thing they would have seen was that.
That does make sense.
You're all the natural 20. Slash, I was like, none of you guys are gonna figure that out, so I'm gonna say it.
I was thinking it. I was like, what's the connection? And I was like, oh, literal, like that's the last thing.
The last thing they saw. Yep.
Yep.
It was like the last traumatic memory thing that they held on to, and their spirits were like screaming about. Because ghosts be that way.
Well, I'm sorry I made us all take a detour through the wheat, and over to the swamps and everything last time we were here.
It's okay.
It needed to happen one way or another because those ghosts were not being friendly.
I suppose. Okay, should we see what's up these stairs?
Probably. Rogue first.
Looks to Felix.
Definitely a wiser course of action.
Can you see? I don't think Felix can
yes.
see. Oh, with dancing lights.
Dark
He's
vision.
got-
Goggles.
Oh, you got dark vision?
He's got goggles of
Yeah.
night.
Oh,
vision, like Friends of
yeah.
Friends does.
We were the flying V. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Flying V.
Hey, that's what we were.
Yeah, because Felix and Rowan were holding hands.
Yeah, Felix and Rowan. I had Rhiannon, and Nora had Hans and Franz Josh.
And where the other Hans and Franz here, he has goggles too, so he would have been fine. He would have been on his own.
My eyes must have adjusted since coming in here, because I couldn't see anything when we first got here, but now I can see everything.
Isn't it nice?
It is.
All right, so checking for traps and stuff.
All right, go ahead and give me a roll.
What do the traps fall under again?
Investigation.
Okay. That's going to be 15, total, unless you count the passive. So,
You don't spot any traps on your way up the stairs. So
I mean, I suppose we were fighting on them. So,
you know,
Yeah.
you never know. You could have just missed the right step.
yep.
You're trying to be good.
Yeah, Felix is going to check the door then.
There is actually no door. It is just basically like another small cave with a natural opening. It seems to have been a little room set up in here, but there's actually no door.
There's no door.
Nope, it's just like an opening into like a little natural cave, like a little pocket cave.
Anything in that room?
You can see with your goggles, it's probably only like a 20 by like 15 room. It's not very big. Obviously, it's still part of like the natural cave formation, so there's not completely smooth walls. It looks like there is tables in here, some cabinets and stuff for storage, and a like desk for work. So kind of like a similar setup downstairs, but like there's cabinets and stuff. And you can also see that in here there is a matching key to what the one that you guys have of the car laced into the crypts is. That's kind of like embedded into the wall.
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
It looks like there's like another version of like the key that you guys took of the Carlays that goes to the family crypts, like kind of hanging embedded in the wall in here. But otherwise there's basically cabinets, some tables, and like a desk for working on. This one doesn't have drawers. It mostly just looks like there's papers and like ink and quill and stuff like that on it.
So the key's actually in the wall?
It's like hanging on the wall.
Okay. So, yeah, Felix will go and tell everyone, you know. There's, wait, there's a natural, like, opening on the ceiling? Like,
no, it's just
okay.
like a cave, but
Okay.
it's just a cave. Like, so it's not smooth, straight walls like a house. It's like a cave opening.
There's a room upstairs, sort of set up like an office, and it looks like there's another lock and key up there. Currently the key is in the lock. I think that we can take it out, but I don't know what's behind it.
It's not a lock and a key, it's just the key hanging on the wall.
Oh.
Sorry if I wasn't clear. It's just the key. Like, it looks exactly like what the keys you guys took off of Rhys and Ville's body, the one from Geralt's desk. It's just hanging on the wall there.
You really made a lot of those. That's probably not very smart of them.
Well, there's another key hanging from... there's another key hanging from the wall. Doesn't look like there's a way out. Which... I don't know.
I'm wondering, because if we came in one way, there has to be some way that they got in here without bypassing us. They had to have come in through another entrance of some sort.
Agreed.
I'll go see if there's a secret passage or something up there.
Can we all go with and just start investigating?
Yeah, you can go in and look.
Okay.
Investigation.
What are we?
Investigation is what we're rolling?
Yeah. So where are you guys looking in the room? Are you looking along the walls? Are you opening the cabinets and stuff like that? Like, what are you doing?
Nora will probably go for the cabinets.
I'm just gonna look at the ceiling.
Rowan goes up the stairs and looks at the floor.
Yeah.
Hopes he sees something. I got a 1.
You see the floor.
I got a 1 too. It's a night of ones.
You got a natural
18.
1.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 1 before, but I have an 18 for this time.
Nora would like to first look at the cabinet and check for traps, knowing she probably won't like be as good as it like with Felix, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
15.
You don't see anything on it that would indicate that there's a trap on the cabinets.
Okay. She's gonna go ahead and carefully open it.
All right. Well, you notice a couple things as you open it. One, it looks like there is a bunch of miscellaneous, like, personal possession items in here, like gloves, pins, stuff like that, like personal effects. And they're all like mismatched and stuff like that. So you're like, that's weird. But the main thing that catches your attention, that there is a jar with a severed head got like a probably like in his 40s man or something with dark hair.
Nora screams. Just ear-piercing screams, and probably like she like tumbles backwards and does the whole like skitter away from it, and just is like heavy breathing.
Felix is right there, so he's going to look.
Nora just points
There!
He looks.
I mean, yeah, you see a preserved head in a jar.
Well, that's disquieting.
Give me a
familiar.
Felix, give me an insight check. You're so good at these.
Shut up, Lizzie. Shut up. Yeah, I rolled a nat 1.
Oh
No.
Hey, I'm right there with you on bad
Yeah,
insight.
we've all rolled that one so far. Aaron, me, Lauren.
Technically, I rolled,
Okay,
I
Sam,
rolled
you're
a
next.
2, but I have -1 on
Okay,
investigation.
I rolled a 15. Nora's fine. She'll go ahead and get up, and she'll slowly reapproach the cabinet, trying to keep her composure. Does the head look familiar?
Yeah, it has a passing resemblance to Rhys a little bit, like maybe an older version of him, and the pictures you've seen of his father hanging in the mansion.
You don't think this is Rice's father, do you?
100%.
Rhiannon's looking, it's like, yeah, I see a resemblance, and I've seen the portraits before. I certainly. Why would you have this? Like, just confused and horrified. But then she's like looking at all the other items, and then actually starts like picking them up. And
Are
like
these
looks,
from family, or are these from the people that they ended up sacrificing to this crystal thing?
she's looking over the stuff. She's like, no, all of these are very finely made materials. And then she like picks up like the gloves on one of them, and she's like, look, like the inside of this is embroidered with the Westwood sigil. These are a Westwood's gloves. And then she like picks up other things, and then she's like, all of these, like a handkerchief here, this has Briar's sigil on it. This is, are these personal effects of people?
How many different families are represented here?
She starts looking through them all, and yeah, Felix helps with this, and Felix recognizes all of the things he can find things on it. He finds one for Evelyn. He finds one for House Briar. He finds one for House Griffin. He finds one for basically almost every single noble that is on Elaine's council.
Yeah, this is a good.
This
As well as
could
some
mean
other
one of-
nobles.
there's like a
Some-
couple different options here of what could really be going on, and all of them are terrifying.
Witchcraft and controlling people, or they're duplicates.
Or they're in on it, just in general.
That's true.
Everybody, Nora, Rowan, and Una, give me intelligence checks.
Just general intelligence.
Yeah.
So 20 plus
All right.
1. 21.
Nora and Aaron know nothing because they don't understand noble nonsense.
No, it's not that. Una, you remember specifically that Elaine, when she wanted to scry on Ulin, needed a personal effect of his.
Right.
Oh. Do you let us know that?
Yeah, I'd tell you. Blah. Most likely used for divination purposes. So we should
Scrying.
probably leave these here as evidence to go against Rhys.
Don't touch anything else then, I suppose.
Are there any other cabinets in here?
No, just the stuff that's holding all of the like the personal effects and stuff of people in it, and then
Okay.
I do have a question.
Yes, Lauren.
I think you know what it is. Anything from the Disturnis house?
No, it seems like he was unable to get something from the Disturnis house. Well, actually, hang on a minute. Are you okay with me asking something since they all know who you are, Lauren?
Sure.
What's the likelihood Ringian would have been able to leave with something of your grandfather's or get something of Iskander's grandfather's?
Unlikely.
Okay, then no, there's not. That's the only way I could think of something. He doesn't have anything of Elaine's either.
Well, she's cautious.
She's fucking cautious. So no, there is nothing of the Disturnises in here.
But we didn't find any sort of secret passage or
Nothing on the wall?
Yeah, was there anything on the ceiling?
Nope, you guys don't. You spend like 10 minutes and can't find like another way out or anything.
There's nothing on the floor.
Is there
Or
any way
above.
they could have just teleported here of some sort?
Possible, I guess. I don't know what demons can do or whatever these things were. However, crap. What's his name? The puppy knight. I'm just gonna call him Puppy.
Micah.
Micah! This probably explains a lot and why he's scared of girls. And she probably took his kiss too.
I mean, he could have also just been a
Charming.
puppy.
That's
that reminds me.
true.
Rhiannon, can I have my water skin back?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. She gives it back.
He takes it, swallow, well, not swallow, takes, drinks some and then spits it out.
Oh,
What?
well.
From like, because he got sucked by her, he got his soul sucked out by her a little bit too.
Hey, so did
Oh, got
I. I don't do shit though about it. I just let it happen.
Are you
Well,
guys?
I guess it was an awakening.
It was
Are
weird.
you guys doing okay? Like, you don't look great.
Yeah, you look.
My ear
really-
won't stop bleeding for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, we could try to get back to. Should we go call the others? Should we bring?
Probably.
Should we bring? Hold on a minute. I have to think about this for a minute. Okay. Do we bring Lord Disturnus down here first, or at least some of his knights to maybe help secure the area? And do we? We need to let him know everything that happened here first before we just bring this to public attention. I don't know if I should claim ownership for.
Probably not.
I don't
much-
know.
Seems we should ask Lord Disturnus what to do in terms of what happened and everything with you, Rhiannon, just to make sure that you don't get in trouble. I think he's a trustworthy person to ask and get advice from.
Well, do we leave here? Because I know the knights were waiting somewhere around some of them. Was it Septima and Morna were waiting around the cemetery, weren't they?
I think so. Like I said, we could also leave Spreul here. I mean, if I'm close enough to him, we can kind of communicate through thought and feeling. How high up? Like, if I were to directly above where we are right now, I'm assuming that's probably more than 200 feet, right?
Yeah, because you guys walked down probably like at least to like 180 or 200 feet. So you're deep
Never mind. He's going to be out of range. I mean, we could leave Hans and Franz here. They're both just chilling.
I'm sure they have masterful commentary that they would be making if
I mean,
were-
they're both strong and haven't done much during the fight, so it'd be perfect.
Who all has sending stones? I know Hans and Franz and Rhiannon
Yeah, and you
have
and your
a pair.
parents.
Well, yeah, but of our group.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
Hans
those
and
two.
Franz and just Hans
Nope.
and Franz and
Nope. Enough. Look it. Just okay. We're going to wait here. I'm going to message him, and I'll tell him to show up with the knights, and that'll be that. Okay.
That's for me.
Okay.
I should have known you had a sending stone.
Sounds like a plan. Then if that's the case, I'm gonna start pulling stuff out of my bag and ritually cast detect magic.
Rhiannon looks at Felix and asks in Sylvan, "Do you want to explain before he shows up to them?"
Explain
Nora
what?
looks over and is like, in Sylvan as well.
Might not be good to discuss this here.
Why not?
She like looks around to like everybody.
Just, I know it's a sensitive topic.
Yeah, no, that's out of the bag.
I mean, what I'm saying is maybe you should explain that, Felix, before you call him to them. So they're not confused.
Right. Congratulations, everyone. The moment you have been waiting for is now upon you.
Yeah! About time!
Right. So, Lord Asternus, Caron Asternus, is actually my grandfather. I am Iskander Asternus, and yeah, that's about it. Rhiannon and I are friends from Arden University. I don't know. Maria, anything else?
Lord Discernus has thought that he's been overseas for the last year and a half, and he's been a spy in the Venerable, so he might be a little angry to find out his heir is here, but y'all didn't know about that. That is me and Iskander's anger to deal with.
Iskander, correct?
Iskander. Ken.
Iskander.
Yes.
It's very nice to finally meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, officially, Rowan.
Luna's just gonna look at him, squint her eyes, and then nod. Like, that makes sense. I understand why you did that.
Game sees game.
Nora says nothing but pretends very badly as if she is just finding out now. So it's like a
wow.
Like, it's not like a super dramatic, but she's not like totally being like, oh yeah, I already knew. But she's just kind of like, oh, like kind of slightly dramatic facial expressions.
Don't worry, I'm sure that it gets drowned out by the Hans and Franz's expressions.
Yeah, so I've decided what they would say by rolling. Yeah, so let me see if I can do a shitty accent. So Josh is Hans and Franz. What? Why didn't you just say that this whole time? And then Anders Hans and Franz, who rolled an 18 to kind of keep himself more composed, is like, oh, I see why Rhiannon trusted him so much. I see why she wanted Lord Discernus and why she knows him so well. I see why Felix is a shady motherfucker. Okay, I get it now. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I can't do the Austrian accent anymore, so that's what I'm calling. But yeah, Josh's Hans and Franz is like, what? I don't understand, because he rolled a 6.
Una understands. Yeah. Una gets it. She does the same thing.
Secret buddies.
Secret buddies.
So, yeah, I guess you can call him now.
Yeah. Let's see. I did not think of something to write down.
I mean, to be fair,
there's zero prep anyway, so
it's going to be not prepared. There's no way he could be prepared for this conversation. Also, I'm not prepared to do a Scottish accent again.
You have a few moments or a minute or two to practice,
Right. So
let me mute myself so I can write so much into Lord Stonus' accent.
So Felix, after he composes the message in his head, pulls out, grabs a chain around his neck, pulls out a ring, and, activates it. Branda, come down into the crypt with the knights to secure Rhys and Veil's bodies and evidence of their crimes. I'll explain when you arrive.
just like, I'm trying to think of like, okay, so he's obviously on alert. I'm trying to think of how quickly does he notice. Okay, he rolled decent perception checks, so he probably notices. All right, actually, okay, he also doesn't like have a crazy reaction when he sees his ring light up in front of whoever he was talking to at this party. All right, so probably about 10 more minutes go by. And are you guys going up the stairs, or are they going, because you said meet him at the crypts, so like they
it's come down into the crypt.
Okay.
With the knights.
All right, so they come down. Fortunately, the trap was like left open to be very obviously seen, so they avoid it. Lord Discernus does come down with his knights, and it doesn't look like he has Sophia with him, so you're probably assuming that he like left her in the mansion, and there's probably like maybe a handful of the knights not there. Maybe they're with her, maybe they're securing something. And he marches down the stairs into this area, and he seems pretty composed. But there is a very intent expression on his face towards Rhiannon, where it is like, explain. And she's like, well, we killed him. We know that he was definitely up to no good, your grace. And Karen is looking at her like, right. So let's figure out exactly, why don't you tell me everything that happened first, and then we'll sort out some of the other details that I feel I need to know later. And she kind of like nods and looks to the group like, do we want to joint explain what happens? Like what they ran into, what you guys ran into, what you encountered. So yeah, like as power word blah, she'll just say everything that happened. She actually kind of like will talk specifically about the stuff that you guys found up in the room as well, where it's like maybe it was used for scrying magic, and everything like that. And Charon is listening intently and nodding, and he says, well, we're going to need to secure this area and make sure that it is left for investigation. I'm going to send word to Lord Evelyn with my sending spell and tell him that the moment I was waiting for has arrived, and that they should be, the rest of the council that is in Fesliyan should work to push for Elaine's release. And you are all going to be under constant supervision to make sure nothing happens to you, because technically you all murdered a noble, and some people might take issue with that. So don't go wandering off. Don't be anywhere without the guards or anywhere like that, because this could get very political very quickly.
Una?
Yes, Rowan.
Una, don't go anywhere.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a good person. I hide.
Voted most likely to wander off.
Sadly, not wrong.
So kind of with that, he basically goes into general mode and like commander of the military mode. He launches off a sending spell that you hear to Evelyn that kind of sounds like what the standby was to go and tell the rest of the council members to make sure Elaine is freed, and Burke and anybody else under house arrest, and get ready to have the council teleport to Meyerfield and supervise the trial of Rhys implication of the murder of Westwood, something like that. He's more eloquent. Then basically says that he's going to leave about 6 of the knights down here to stand guard of this area and make sure that nobody can come in or out. And he asks you guys, is there any other entrances or exits to here? I see stairs over there. Do they go out anywhere?
It's possible, since they magically appeared up there, but we couldn't find it.
We couldn't find an actual entrance or anything, but it might be worth having some guards go down. And there's a large room that has everything in there for investigating, but there's also some stairs that lead up into an extra area. That's where they came from, but we couldn't find an entrance in there. We're not sure if they were able to teleport or if there is an entrance we just couldn't find.
All right. He would tell one of the knights. Which one's a magic user that is here? He'll tell Fullant, which Una knows is the one who's in the stables with her, yeah. Fullant, he'll tell Fullant to go and do like detect magic of the area and up the stairs and see if there's some sort of magical teleportation, something they need to account for, anything like that. Which Fullant nods and then goes up and starts doing magic scanning. And he goes up with one of the other knights as cover. And then after like a minute or two, he comes back down and says that there's nothing really magical in that room. But he does say that the key that's hanging on the wall looks like it's part of a word of recall spell. So there must be something that was the other thing that let them teleport on them. So he's like, but that is part of an anchor for a word of recall spell.
We don't have that.
And Fulant's like, well, obviously you don't. It's whoever is attuned to it and the key, whatever they had. He's kind of judgmental.
I'm very new to magic. I can make light.
It's a very good basic spell. Like he says. Like, he's just a little bit judgmental. It's fine.
Nora's giving him such a side eye right now.
Una's like, I know magic. You're just being a dick.
Nora's like, don't turn into a wolf. Don't turn into a wolf. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Una knows from working in the stables with Fullant, like, Rowena was the better one to talk to because he was kind of a judgmental asshole at times. Yeah. Like, he's super smart and he knows it, and he just is like a little
he's
bit.
A dick.
Yeah.
That's why we left him behind and did fun things.
That's why Rowena and you were like, oh, let's hang out together.
Yep.
So basically, he's going to... I'm trying to think, because I'm not a military person. Does he go and put you guys in the mansion and wait for the rest of to show up?
Yeah, I think he would sequester us as soon as possible.
Yeah, okay. So I think he's going to send you guys up with... and go with you, like, with the rest of the knights. So, He leaves 6 of them down there, and then he specifically has you guys kind of stand in the middle of a formation with him, and has the best fighters kind of like around each of you to make sure nothing happens. Which, fun fact, Rowena is one of the best fighters. Even though she's the baby of the group. So yeah, you guys are surrounded. Anshu does look at you, look at Una and Felix, and is kind of like, oh, you must have had the same thing that happened with the Oak Knight.
Yeah, my ear just won't stop bleeding. Like, it's a thing right now.
He like reaches out and does cast Cure Wounds on you, like, so if you like, and Felix, like, he'll top you guys off with some Cure Wounds. I
can only go up to 32, so a single spell is all that's needed. Sad face.
I wish I could do that.
Who else got hurt? Because I know that Felix, you're half. Okay. One of the other knights that has like very unique looking. He's a half elf, has silver eyes, white hair, and pale skin that's almost like a bluish tin. He will heal the rest of you guys up as well, including Rhiannon, because she got fucking hit by that. She got toasted by that that fire bolt. The opening round of combat.
Like heal us full, or
he'll start dropping some cure wound spells into you, so probably do a prayer of healing when you actually get back up in the mansion and wait. So yeah. So yeah, you guys are sequestered in the mansion and healing up, and Lord Disturnus is pacing around waiting for the rest. Like, he's waiting basically for reinforcements of the council and stuff to kind of, you know, arrive, and just leaving the party. And there are a couple people that kind of, like, from the, like, lords that will kind of come to the mansion and be like, what's going on exactly? But, like, they're not really talking. He's like, nope, not talking to anybody. Like, nope. We're waiting. We're holding, and nobody can get into the mansion and stir up anything. And yeah, so it's kind of just an awkward waiting game at this point. And during this time, Rhiannon does ask Lord Disturnus, so I'm technically the one that killed Rhys and Vil. I don't know if I should claim that, or if I should even claim that I was down there. I don't even know what the right call to make in this situation is.
Technically, you were upstairs at the party.
that is true.
I don't mind Elaine knowing, but it's probably smart. And Charon's like, I think we should let her highness know the true story of where you were, but otherwise, I say that these fine people who are working for an agent of Burke's, and he looks at Felix very critically, with Burke's leave, we're investigating this. And I say that is the official story that we tell any noble that asks. You were at the party, and that is that. And she kind of, like, nods. Still kind of, like, conflicted about how to feel all this, but yeah. So she's just like, I don't want them to get in trouble for me pushing them to do this. And he's like, they won't. I'll make sure of it, and I'm sure Elaine will too when she gets here. So basically, probably an hour goes by, and then there, two of the guards that were posted outside the door, one of them a really tall, like, blonde man that you've noticed favors having, like, two weapons, comes in, and I'm giving him a Scottish accent too. He's like, Your Grace, it looks like the cavalry has arrived. Everyone is going mad in the yard with excitement, so whatever we were waiting for, it seems it's here now. And Charon's like, excellent! This will be fun. Okay, so here's a question. There's some of this stuff that could happen off stage, but basically, this is going to potentially turn into a big explanation of a court drama of what's happening. So my question is, like, Charon could leave you in the mansion to just wait. But also, it's pretty likely that, like, you would be needed to give some answers with the agreed upon story post-investigation. I feel like it would make sense for you to come along and just kind of be, like, guarded. Are you cool with that? There might be a little talking over you, but then you also can see how certain people react to what. So otherwise, we could hand wave it, and I could give you guys highlights.
Let's do it.
I think... Yeah, I think it might be more interesting to hear a little bit more dramatized version than just like here's a recap kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So basically, during this time, Charon has made sure that Rhiannon and Sophia kind of switch back to places. So she puts on the dress that Sophia was wearing and kind of, like, fixes her hair as best as possible to make it look like she was at the party. And that's that. And then you go out into the front of the house where it looks like not only has a bunch of fucking nobles and their knights shown up. But also you recognize a very tired, very exhausted, and very keeping it together, but there is like simmering rage under her face of Lady Elaine Eris, followed by her bodyguard, and you actually recognize him as the guy who came in like with a notebook and paper when she was going to talk to Ulin and the Selkies. Like, it looks like just a human man that you were like, oh, it's her secretary, but this person looks kind of like they've had some fingernails removed and like maybe tortured a little bit. So, I mean, Iskender knows that this is the spy master. So it looks like Burke got released too, but he went through some shit. So there's a bunch of fucking nobles here and council, and Charon basically walks over to Elaine and bows, and he starts quickly recapping a little bit of the situation in more detail, and she nods and says, gather every member of my council here. We are going to the crypts to investigate what was discovered. And then she also orders a bunch of the knights that are with her to make sure that they back up the Disturnus guards and not let anything happen to any of you guys. Just at all. She's like, I'm taking no fucking chances. So there's a little bit of commotion waiting in the yard. It seems like the ones that were like the one person who was on the council that outside of Lord Disturnus that was here, that was on the council, was Lord Griffin. And he comes out with his knights and is very confused as to what the hell's going on. And basically Elaine says that we are all going to find out who murdered Lord Westwood, and then has basically Charon lead the way to the crypt since he's been there already. So you guys go through. There's a lot of like whispers going around with like the nobles. You can see that some familiar faces from the fighting pits are there. You see Lord Evelyn is there, and he's walking close to Charon and basically saying, well, I did what you said and got everyone gathered up. They were all on standby. I think Briar was the hardest to get away since his wife just had a baby, but, you know, he made it too, so. And you can see a very tired looking Lord Briar walking there, kind of trying to ask, like, you know, Lord Disturnus, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Like, also kind of like looking at the party a little bit, like, I don't know who all these people are. There's also some other members of the council. Lord Griffin is trying to understand what exactly is happening. He's like, Rhys has been gone from the party for like an hour and a half now. There's kind of some confusion in the house. And Elaine's like, well, we're going to see about what's what with this. So you go down into let's call it the murder room, avoiding the whirring death trap, and find the murder room with the shattered gem and Rhys's body in the ground, and a lot of people, like kind of like the Lord's Council, gather around it and are like, well, what's this? What's all this? What's all this? What's all this? Like, there's just like shock and confusion of what's happening. And then Elaine basically asks Lord Disturnus to give an account of how you all ended up here. He speaks very poetically and explains how he was brought in by an agent of Burke's, and he looks at like Felix in disguise, and then looks at Burke kind of to be like, assuming you're backing this up, that they were investigating Rhys because he was working for a criminal organization and it got tied up into this Westwood murder. They were here to investigate that, and it turns out that he had some sort of secret he was hiding, and that's why Westwood got murdered. Recap. There's a lot of notable shocked reactions from this, especially like from a few people. Just in general, everyone seems completely taken aback by the fact that Rhys was some sort of like horrible monster demon creature. And then basically Elaine starts looking around the room and trying to do detect magic on things as well, and looking at the ruins and it's kind of then a lot of angry questions begin from people like, well, how do we know he did this? Like, is this really Rhys? Like, how do we know all this? Like, this could just be some sort of crazy thing. And there's a lot of back and forth and arguing about it. And then kind of Elaine turns to the group and says that she kind of wants to hear like your guys's description of what happened and what you noticed this thing did and stuff like that, and give some sort of testimony. So you guys can present this however you see fit.
I don't think Una would say anything, and our charismatic leader for these type of moments is not here either. I mean,
I guess Felix would probably take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have Felix and Rowan tag team this if Nora doesn't say anything.
Nora would be more of ready to answer any specific questions. She wouldn't exactly know how to lead into a general explanation.
I mean, do you have a specific idea, Aaron?
Real quick, Lizzie, we're just explaining the connections that we've put
Lord
together.
Discern has kind of summarized it, but they want to know what happened in the room specifically. Like, how do you know this was Rhys? Like, what did you see? Like, what did this shattered crystal thing do? Like, that's what a lot of the questions kind of are. Because I will say this, Lauren, you have some sort of like hand signal identifying thing that you can do and thieves can't to Burke, so he'll recognize you as, you know, because you have a different face from your cover as Felix. So
yeah.
When after we entered the crypt and found our way down the stair shaft and through the tunnel as we all just came, we were met by Lord Rhys and his hand Vil at the top of these stairs here. They were in their normal forms, and Vil commanded our friend Una here and Hans and Franz as well to distract them from the potential oncoming fight.
as you're talking, Lord Griffin says, could you elaborate on what you mean commanded? Gave an order?
They got into our minds and charmed us and made it so we cannot disobey them.
I'm trying to think of how to. There's something that I want to say that obviously I can't say because Rhiannon wasn't involved.
Mm-hmm. Felix will step in. They tried to reason with us, and essentially were stalling for time. And that crystal there started spitting out some sort of odd shadows that matched the description of what murdered Lord Westwood. And essentially we began to fight.
Okay. Were you gonna say something, Aaron? You look like you were gonna say something.
I'm just debating if it's smart to talk about the vision that I had.
Felix explains that during the fight, Vil actually kissed Una and, well, after charming her, and seemed to suck the life out of her.
Evelyn raises an eyebrow like, what? The fuck?
And after I was charmed, she did the same thing. Essentially, it seems that she's the one who's been responsible for the odd sicknesses that the knights have, well, that some of the guards and knights have experienced. And during the fight, Nora used Moonbeam on Rhys, he reverted to what you see before us.
One of the people on the council, they have they're dressed, they're a half elf. They are wearing like the traditional long style tunic with fitted pants. They have ombre-ish purple to blue hair. Definitely very like gender fluid looking. They nod and look at Nora approvingly, and they're like, Moonbeam is an excellent spell. And it also does reveal the shape of shape changers, which was a good choice. I don't know if you did that intentionally, but a very smart choice.
It has often come in handy, I think, and so it just seemed like a good idea at the time, to be honest.
One of them who looks to kind of be wearing some sort of like priestly robes is basically taking all of this in and says that if looking at the body, I would assume it was some sort of fiend influence, which anything associated with the hells is very negative. And whatever is going on here. And he kind of speaks up for the council, and he says, I was very skeptical at the beginning of this investigation into Westwood's murder, considering I know Her Highness and him have had their differences over the past, and we didn't know who caused his death. However, I will admit that she has been willing and under zone of truth multiple times over the last week, and I cannot catch her in any falsehood of murdering him. So I know we can eliminate her as Westwood's murderer. And this, I don't know if it accounts for it, but it certainly seems that we were all fooled by him.
Well, if I may say something, you'll be doing your own investigation, I'm sure, but something we did find when we were looking around and checking to make sure we didn't miss anything, there was a whole cabinet filled with items from multiple different families, it seemed. Lots of different crests on them and things like that, identifying features. And we believe one of those might have been the Westwood family crest. So it seems like there's a lot of connections that they had some sort of dealings in. After thinking a little bit about it, we think it was for malicious intent, possibly to scry on them. Keep an eye on people.
Her Highness nods, like, appreciatively. She basically also adds that anything that, and you can have your own people in the priest validate this, Lord Talos, but anything for scrying or some sort of spell that would have been able to kill Westwood would require personal effects of his. I think that you should show us where this room is, and we should see what other personal effects of people he had as well that could have been potential targets. So, yeah, Elaine basically wants to kind of go up. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
I was gonna say Rowan will point to the stairs and say it's just up those stairs. I will warn you, there is a head in a jar up there as well. Looks like it could possibly be Lord Westwood's father.
I mean,
Or Lord Rice's father.
Elaine blinks in confusion at that and is like, I am thankful for the warning. And she basically goes up there with the lords to kind of go through the items and have them identify things. There's some other ones in there for non-council members too, like maybe other lords that like Rhys just hung out with regularly, you know, covering all his bases. And as this is going on, the people who are maybe a little bit more like, this is ridiculous and like kind of crazy are starting to be like, holy fuck, like, did we get conned? Like, this is bad. This is like super bad. And there's some still kind of more questionings, like especially around like the legality of like, did we really just let these people kill a noble? But also, well, what were we supposed to do? And then there's also questions of like, who else would have known about this? Like, Lord Griffin specifically asks each of you as a group, he's like, do you believe there are other conspirators that may have been involved in whatever Rhys was planning for murder?
Cut back to the mansion while we're all waiting. Of the letters that we've found implicating, I don't even know how many nobles that are at the party or potentially coming too. How much of that do we want to reveal?
I would argue that some of it is not nearly enough to be able to incriminate these people. I think that it would be better. It seems like this whole particular thing, this murdering of Lord Westwood, was solely on Rhys. And we have a reason for it. He seemed to have been in collusion with Rhys to get him onto the throne and discovered Rhys's true form and chose to get rid of Rhys. The others who we have had mentioned, we should pretend we did not find those letters. Because I can assure you that Lady Elaine and Burke will be wanting them, and to be able to do a full investigation on them so that we can catch them in other things and perhaps connect it to the organization. Right now we don't have enough to get them, and it just would tip them off.
That makes sense. And as far as the visions that I've had and hearing the ghosts speak, should I save that for Elaine as well?
Only if you're comfortable with her knowing.
Oh, I'm very comfortable with her knowing.
Then yes, just her. Other people could try to use it against you.
Okay.
Perhaps Lord Disternus too, of course, but that's your choice.
Didn't you tell him already when you guys met with Rihanna?
I think,
originally?
yeah.
I think he does
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I think so too.
So, yeah,
Yep.
pretty much if you want to tell them. But otherwise, I would hold your cards close to your chest.
That seems very smart.
Yeah, it is.
So cutting back, because I figured you guys would have talked about that during all of the waiting. So Lord Griffin asked if there's been there were other people implicated in like murdering Westwood or anything like that. He's like, was there any other people that were connected to this that you know of?
No, none that we know of.
The only people that we know of were Lord Rhys and Vil.
Elaine adds in, I suspect if he kept it secret this long where nobody even noticed that he was not mortal, that he likely kept it very close-knit. We will need to figure out how to publicly address this as a council. We also will need to tell Lady Westwood, give her some closure, and we should also tell his Lord Westwood's cousin about this as well. But we also will probably need to do an investigation with Lord and Lady Carley and just see if they knew anything about this as well. So that will be for us for later. I believe these fine people, and she looks at you all and also Lord Discernus, have done enough for today and deserve a rest and protection. And I will need to meet with all of the Lord's Council privately and figure out how we're going to share this publicly. I'm trying to think of where like she would go to have this meeting. Like, it's kind of being down here in the murder room. It's weird. But if they go back up into the house, that's also weird. I don't know if Charon wants to let everybody, all of like the Lord's Council, into the mansion. Can't see it. But also they can't be scryed on in there, so.
What was that?
They also can't be scryed on in there.
Or did they go back to the capital?
Like go teleport like everybody away right now? I mean, she has mages with her. She could do that.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm trying to think, like, I know that this is me as a DM, I should know this. I'm just trying to think logically of, like, they go back to the castle, like, she teleports everyone back to the castle to talk.
Was there, like, a breakfast room? Yeah, I mean, they could just take over that or something.
In Meyerfield? Yeah, the main thing is, though, then, like, everybody and the knights and the council has to kind of go into the castle and make a scene for everybody else who's there right now. So, I mean, they did make an entrance coming into the party, though, I guess, into the house, so she might not care. She might just, like...
Otherwise, I can't imagine somebody on their council or somebody close to them wouldn't have some sort of, like, you know, we have a fancy mansion that looks like a tent. You know, they probably have something very similar that they could lock down. I mean, it's up to you, Lizzie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't. Charon's the only one that does. So I think Elaine might ask Charon if, like, they can use a
like
section
an office or a study or something.
They need to use a private area of the mansion just with, like, the immediate council to figure out how to, like, they're gonna address all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, begrudgingly agrees. And yeah, basically then all the knights that they brought with them and retainers are outside the mansion. Charon lets people into basically like the dining room where like you guys have eaten breakfast every morning to talk privately with like the actual inner council about all of this. And then Elaine says all of you can wait, and she will want to speak to you all privately later for more details as well as some other matters. But she says that she is grateful for everything that you have done, and please rest and know that this will be handled.
Sigh of relief, we're not in trouble.
Basically, she's like, you're not in trouble. We have shit to talk about, but I gotta go deal with things right now. So basically, for the rest of the night, you guys can do whatever you want in the manor. There are a bunch of the knights who are kind of like still like tasked. They basically quarter you up in your rooms, and a bunch of the knights are with you and kind of like trying to get details of what happened and everything like that. So yeah, they'll all eagerly interrogate you. Probably, I don't know if you guys go to bed or not, or if you just stay awake until they're done. The council's done meeting.
I don't know if we'd go to bed. I don't think Una would.
I feel like we'd all be a little bit too wired with what happened to probably just go straight to sleep. I feel like this is like the slumber party where we're all hanging out.
Yeah.
Just vegetating.
Rowan would like to he kept a piece that piece of the crystal that he had picked up early on. So I think he would probably take some time and go off into a room and try and meditate on it.
I mean, I kind of want to detect magic on all this crap, but I kind of don't want to put it out if people are around. Be like, oh, look at all my stuff, and having people coming in and out. It's like if we're alone, I totally just ritually cast identify and detect magic on everything that we've received.
I would say the guards, if you guys want private, like the knights will let you stay in the room by yourself. They just want to kind of make sure that like in the hallway they're protecting anybody from like coming up or causing trouble. So you guys are in your shared space together. Okay. So Una could start identifying shit.
Then let's go, man. Detect magic. We'll pull everything out. And then I'll spend 11 minutes. Actually, I don't think it's that long. I think it's like 10 minutes and 6 seconds.
Q Felix just staring. You nicked all that stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. Just gonna keep pulling stuff. Kind of like get a like nice spread on the floor.
No. That was what Rhys was wearing, and that the ring was definitely what. When did you?
Oh, those creepy rings that we're not touching. I'm gonna use my like arrowhead, like the back of it, to like when I call it up, like actually probably when I call it up, maybe like have like a piece of cloth covering my hand so I don't touch it directly.
Handkerchief.
Yeah.
Wear a pair of gloves.
Wear a pair of something so I don't actually come in physical contact with it, because I know that we're all a little wary about that one. But yeah, no, we're totally grabbing it all, man. Everything that we picked up. Be happy I didn't take his clothes. And I'm just gonna keep pulling stuff out and laying it down and like putting like my crystals in a tiny pile next to the 2 big crystals. And the only thing that's staying in the bag are gonna be the drunk berries and the poison potion and that stuff. But everything we picked up.
Una.
Yes?
Do you often find that you have an impulse to grab things?
I mean, he wasn't going to use it, and we technically they told me to keep grabbing the research stuff, so they told me to do that, so I did. And
let me see the
we can put some of this stuff back if it's not important.
No,
but
I see the research stuff.
Huh?
Just let me see the research stuff.
It's in that pile over there. Be careful. I haven't detected magic on it yet.
I'll wait.
Okay.
Okay, I just have to say this interaction is really cute.
I know. I think like Rhiannon is kind of like, because he's not there, so like she's not like cuddling with Hans and Franz for emotional support. So she's probably sitting like with him, and then also with like Nora, and like looking at this interaction, and she says they are quite the opposite pair with similar skills in some ways.
Very much so.
Una does have hoarder tendencies.
Yeah, but we love her for it.
And Rhiannon kind of laughs and says, I certainly do.
Comes in handy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make my piles. Then I'm gonna start ritually casting detect magic.
Una, do you want help?
If you want to, it just takes me time. It's up to you if you want to save that for later, or you could do it now and then I can work on identifying.
I don't really know if I'll need it later, so I can use it now.
Works for me.
Before you start doing that, actually Rhiannon goes to the door and asks the knights, she's like, by the way, can you like get us a drink? I really need a drink after tonight.
I got that. I got you covered. I'm gonna grab out the jug of drunk berries and I'm just gonna hand her one.
What is
Be
this?
careful.
Just one equals like a keg of beer. Sometimes depends on. Just don't fight it. Just let it happen.
Just be careful. Don't have too many.
I don't want anything that strong.
Una.
Felix?
No.
Oh, Una will totally eat it.
those. And you could probably just sell those to the Knights later.
But they're ours.
Did you
If
say
you-
Una had one?
Oh yeah, Una totally took one.
So
How drunk is she?
roll a Constitution check for me.
Let's find out.
Because if she's drunk, Nora's gonna
Oh, I'm not
separate her.
drunk. I'm not drunk
No?
at all.
You're good?
That's a 19.
Oh,
Right.
you're good.
Una doesn't feel like she got really affected by it.
Yeah, but
So-
these are ours. They're for our fun time.
All right.
I think what Felix is saying is with this crowd, you could probably make a killing off of it. They're party animals.
But they're ours.
But you don't have to
They're for our fun time. I got charmed for these.
You have a bad habit of getting charmed.
Una,
Hopefully
just
not going forward.
put the berries away. Let Rhiannon go ahead and get her own
Okay.
drink.
She'll be like, if anyone else wants a drink, I'll like, make sure that is it. So basically, Rhiannon sticks her head out the door and asks like one of the knights to like get them like a variety of alcohol for different tastes. As they wait. So
Nora will go ahead and use her Pearl of Power to regain a first level spell slot, and she will help out with the whole detect magic.
okay.
If she's detecting the magic, I'll start the identify.
Perfect.
Alright.
Tag team.
So
Yeah.
two of the rings are magical.
Okay.
Okay.
The spear is magical because it's a magical weapon. The shield is magical that Rhys was carrying. And then the two keys for the graveyard, for the crypts, are both magical as well.
But we found out that those are probably recall, right?
Yeah, Fulent said basically word of so they needed something else to act as a word of recall. I knew that was gonna trip you guys up. They're like, "Where's the door? How did they get here? How did they get here? They didn't come down the stairs."
We're not the smartest,
That's
okay?
okay. It's okay.
You're people, you go through doors.
I know, right? You're like, I don't expect word of recall abilities. So yeah. So you
Anything
do that.
else that we ended up picking up magical? Again?
No, the notes and stuff are all mundane, and the crystal shards are no longer enchanted anymore. I don't think there's anything else you guys picked up that would have pinged as magical.
In terms of the rings and the weapons and the shield and stuff, can you tell me the school of magic that they're picking, just so that I can kind of tell what what they're doing?
So the rings of the rings both give off abjuration.
Okay.
The weapon just is a +2 magical weapon, so there's no other. Right, so it doesn't really
No
have like
bonuses.
an aura.
Okay.
The shield gives off divination,
Okay.
and the I believe the keys would give off transmutation because they're teleport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
they're
would make sense.
because I think teleport is a transmutation spell. Let me look at word of recall really quick.
So, question, does this symbol recognize, is it identified as a religious symbol at all? Like, does it identify with a specific deity?
It
Would
looks.
Una know?
No, it does have the Carlay family crest in it, so it seems like they just use whatever the original keys were to make a word of recall anchor thing.
Okay.
So, and you would assume probably the crystal thing was what counted as the shrine piece.
I wonder.
Got the shrine now. Let's
I
go.
wonder if the rings are what kept them in their human form or something.
I think so, with abjuration.
Yeah.
I have to
I'm
look at what
very
they
curious.
identify. Okay, so the identify spell. So 10 minutes per item. So which item are you touching first?
We're gonna start with a ring, and I actually have to
Okay.
touch it with my hand, so this is gonna be hopefully not mind controlling. And if so, I have a
Nora's
plus
got
now.
healing spells ready.
Dude, I got such a bonus. It's not even funny now. Got a whole +3. Woo!
So the ring.
Okay.
It is an uncommon ring. It does
Okay.
require attunement. It is a ring of mind shielding.
Mind
Oh.
shield.
So Una gets the sense that the ring basically makes you immune to magic that allows other creatures to read your thoughts, determine if you align, know your alignment, or your creature type.
I'm keeping this one. I'll tell you guys what it is and be like, I'm keeping this one.
It also says that you can use your action to cause the ring. You can use the action to become invisible and use another action to make yourself visible, which is how they snuck up on you.
Action, 1 round invisibility.
There's action to be invisible and then an action to be uninvisible.
Is there a length of the invisibility? An hour?
Hang on a second. You use an action to cause the ring to become invisible. Oh no, the ring is invisible. So it wasn't. And so the ring's invisible. Doesn't matter. They still rolled super high in their stealth checks anyway when they snuck in, when they word of recalled into the room, because I was rolling stealth checks for every single round. They were moving across those stairs.
Okay. I'll do it to the other one then as
There's
well.
There's one more thing about this ring.
Okay.
If you die while wearing it, your soul enters it unless it already houses a soul. You can remain in the ring or depart to the afterlife.
Oh,
So
so
as long as your soul is in the
he's
ring.
inside of it.
Whoa, looks like Rhys's soul might still be around. What is the party gonna do? Find out next time on the Guardians of Fehal.